Hey guys, welcome to the Eagle Farm preview, and looks a cracking card. Hey, Trent from Combet and Nick, Mr. Mounting Yard Mail. How you going, Nick?
Yeah, good. Good day, Trent, and good day, everyone. Sorry I was away last week. Had a bit on, but yeah, look, I quite like this card. Couple of shorties, but yeah, I don't mind it at all.
Beauty. And what about you, Trent? Have you got some insanely aggressive pricing going on, or what's the go?
Yeah, as usual. Pricing them really aggressively. Because I come from a betting background, I'm always so used to trying to find betting edges, and I've just gapped horses I hate. So, yes, definitely a few shorties out there.
It should be interesting. Well, let's get stuck into it. Nick, rail true, and it's looking like a good track for sure. How are you?
Yeah, I think so.
How are you going to handle it?
We had a bit of rain last night here, but you know, with this track goes out so well, I think it'll be good. But I don't think you'll be disadvantaged. I think it'll be very much, you know, map pace oriented. Never really a huge fan of hard fence at Eagle Farm. I think maybe get one or two offs always ideal, but they worked it out. I'm just doing everything on a fair track.
Beauty. And Trent?
Yeah, similar. Yeah, good for true rail. Wait and see what happens first few races.
Definitely. Well, let's find some winners. Race 1, 1,500 meters, and I'll go to you first, Nick, because God, it seemed like a tricky race to line up to me. I was wondering if you had any info about some of these lightly raced ones.
I found it really tricky too. I'm almost going to just, when we do this segment every week, just say, look, leave me out of race 1, give it to Sooty, because he's been nailing race 1 since we've been doing this.
He has. He's the shorties. Yeah,
it all goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
And I just can't get close in these early races. So, look, I didn't really like the race. I thought the one that I would probably have some interest in was the number 4, Planned Encounter. I didn't mind its run last time. I thought it did a reasonable job. It'll need a bit of tempo on. There's been good money reasonable money for a couple here. One's the 5, the Kendrick one. I think that's a bit short now for what I'd be liking. And Totspur number 6. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was. I can't really understand the price. I thought it was a bit average late last time. You know, I guess this game's all about opinions, and I just can't come into it at that price. I'd much rather back Planned Encounter around, what am I going to get? $4, somewhere around there, $4.50, $5 hopefully on the day. I think he's a better bet for me, but not overly keen. I'll certainly wait and see what the yard presents.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny, you see some of these favourites and you think, oh, I'm not willing to take that price. But then you look at the other runners and it's hard. Well, for me, it was hard to find what I really like. But anyway, the pressure's been put on, Trent. So what have you got?
Got number 1 and 4 equal, top rated at $4. I've got the number 6 Totspur just behind that, kilo off at $5. So based on those prices, I'm going to be betting on number 1. I may have something on 4 late, but at this stage, it's just a 1-bet play, number 1. So number 1, second up, CJ from 3. It's 14 days off that last run behind in evidence. The only thing that concerns me about that run is the starting price. So I was 25 to 1 there. So I can't get it really, really short. But if I just give it a little bit of improvement off that first up run, and then I look back at some of those runs where it's starting 7 to 4 with James Orman in the open 2-year-old race, it's got some ability, and you could justify having it shorter. So that the SP has been ignored in this case. So definitely 1 bet, number 1, Adelaide. The other one, same as Nick, number 4, Planned Encounter. Third up here, Taylor Marshall from 2. It's first up, its first win wasn't too bad, and that second one, so that's from that same race. However, it started 40 to 1 in the race, so longer than Adelaide. But it went very well. They have to be around about the same. I think it's a bit of a pox race, though, so I don't think you have to be that good. So yeah, working around those 2, 1 and 4.
Well, Mickey's let us down, hasn't he, mate? No home run to start the program off there.
I was waiting for him to declare one, to be honest.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
Just a $6 winner. Just a $6 winner.
Yeah.
That'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sensing a tone of large degree of confidence in that assessment. Race 2, 1200 meters. And Nick, what have you got?
Yeah, this is one I'm pretty keen to play here. Look, on the ratings and all that sort of thing, the bottom one's just thrown in. Cur Royale. I mean, I watched its run last time in Sydney. I didn't. I thought it did a reasonable job. It's not up against any superstars here. Fleetwood Macca's an interesting one. She's normally a pretty consistent mare and goes all right. She's had a funny campaign. She went really well first up. Then she threw the rider pre-race at Caloundra and bolted. And I mean, that sort of thing can really mess up a campaign and throw them all out of whack. But yeah, look, I think she's a chance. I'll wait to see how she parades. One of our guys in the Brisbane mounting yard, I think it's Dave, goes pretty well on Jayanthi. He's backed it a couple of times and had a good bet on it last time, I think at $12 and won. So fair play to him. It'll present well. Just starting to sense that O'Day and Hoisted might be starting to find their mojo again a bit. They don't seem as cold as they were a few weeks ago. So they're the three that interest me down the bottom, but I'll be guided a little bit by you Sydney guys with Cur Royale, because I thought on the way the race is presented, and I just think he's thrown in. So if he's any good, I'm pretty keen.
Yep. Trent?
It's a fucking moral. Number 8.
Oh, there you go.
Cur Royale. I've got it 3.5 kilos ahead of anything else. I could have given it a lot more the way the Sydney rating. Look at the Sydney rating. I was a little bit worried about the insurrection race, the Benchmark 88, so I didn't give it the even more that I could. And even so, I've got it at $1.70.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think if it turns up, it wins. I've got the danger as number 7, Gianthi. I've got it 3.5 kilos away. Fleetwood Macca is a horse I have some interest in, but you'd need to get out significantly from where it is at the moment. I've got it $6.70. But I think the 8, coming off the superior Sydney form, it rates any of those first 3 ratings it's been doing. It wins this race. So you've got to think it's going to have to do that. It's going to do that. It's got James Orman, barrier 2, moral.
Yeah, I think it's an absolute certainty, guys. I'm loving it. I'm loving the race it comes out of, that insurrection race, because then I've got a good line for the Brisbane form because DePaul ran in that race. I thought that can really frank it. Man, this has got lengths on the opposition. Now, Jayanthi, yeah, it's won the last couple, but it's beat nothing. It's beaten nothing, and Cur Royale has run against serious horses. We get a positive jockey change with K-Mac off for James Orman on. The beautiful combination of Waller and Orman. I think it's got that much ability. I would have preferred it to draw wider just to make sure it definitely didn't have any traffic problems, because I do have it mapping in box C. And sometimes, I know commentators like to say run of the race, but what happens if you're stuck in the coffin down the whole way down the straight? I don't think that will happen the way jockeys ride Eagle Farm. And I think this horse can be even in the not best part of the track and still shit this in. I think it's a moral. The lines through those Sydney horses are bloody good even for Sydney races. So I can't see it getting beaten without. The only way it can get beaten is if it's stuck in a coffin. And I'm loving the fact that the second favourite taking up 30% of the market is not franked at all. So beautiful betting race for me. And I think Trent, you've priced that like an absolute girl, mate, because $1.70 is far too long. I had to get you back, mate, for all the past weeks.
When was the last race we were all in agreement? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. It's just, let's hope, all the ranners out there just truckload it. We'll get the final tick from Nick from the yard to see whether it's travelled up right, and then we might want to put some on early and then maybe go again late at shorter odds if the yard gives us the tick of approval.
Yeah, well, I've never seen the horse before, obviously, so it'll be interesting to get a look at him. Maybe give GP a tap on the shoulder, Gordon, let us know what he looks like normally. And
no, it's a nice style of an animal. And when you're looking at it, the major thing, Nick, there is the opposition. Jesus Christ, they're not even the same. They're not even playing the same sport. Anyway, let's move on to race 3 over 1,800 meters, and Oh, look at all this exposed form, Trent. Come on, what have you found?
I've got number 7, Hell of a Deal on top. I've rated it $4.30. It's currently around $4.50, $4.60. So I'd need it to blow a little bit to get on. It's third up here. Bailey Wheeler from 4. So I think it's a really good run. Its form's been very good. It's switching from Taylor Marshall to Bailey Wheeler, which I have as a very, very big tick, even 2 ticks. So it's definitely the horse to beat. Its ratings last prep, good enough to win this. Its first and second ratings, very, very good. So it's definitely right in with a chance here. So that's will be my primary play if it gets out a little bit. I will be specking another one here, number 10, Duke of Gordon.
Oh, what a name!
Yeah, not because not because my middle name's Gordon, but or Gordo. But yeah, I think, like I've done a few horses, you've seen a couple of those coming up there in recent times. Provincial form does translate to Doomben, to Brisbane Metro. You can go up there. I particularly like it on the midweeks, but these restricted no Metro win races aren't always fantastic. So you can come off the provincial form, go up there and perform a little bit better than the SP. It's coming off Kembla, Gosford, Wyong. Those races can be a little bit stronger. So not hammering it too badly. And ratings wise, you go back to that Hawkesbury race back in November last year. That's enough to win that, where it was taken back from a wide barrier and won that race. If it does anywhere near that, it's right in this race, and at $17, $18, what it is at the moment.
Yeah, Trent, look, the horse could be gone, but obviously that's why you're getting $18 to find out.
That's right. So more than happy to have something on that. O'Shea could be gone also, but $17, happy to have a crack.
Beauty. And Nick, how did you find this one?
Yeah, I sort of got it down to the same 2 numbers. Oh, sorry, I got it down to 7, but I also gave the 4 a chance. I'm interested in the top is probably going to come across and get across, I think, reasonably easy. And I noticed the bar plates are off, which always interests me. And I don't think the horse is going too bad. The 4 Lucky Exchange was in that. It was the last meeting I did at Doomben, which was 2 weeks ago, when it was a really windy day. And anything that pulled out to make ground in the straight just didn't. They just pulled out and hit a wall. As we saw later in the day, I mean, fleas like Azarich won the last race when it was just absolutely gone at the 150 and held on because the wind was a real big factor then, and then it got fancy. And I thought its run was okay. So I certainly won't be losing if it wins. I'm probably looking at a 2-bet play, it and the 7 Hell of a Deal. The only thing that concerns me with Hell of a Deal, and he was also non-been accepted for the 1,400 metre race. And this is an 1,800 metre race.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems a bit odd to me. You're either stepping up or you're not sure.
They've got to run in this race, but don't they? I mean, maybe that was just a throwaway. You know what I mean?
It seems strange, but it is one of these horses that it's consistent, but it's only won 4 out of 28, which is not really something I look to back very often. I like to see them. It's pretty exposed now. It's 28 starts, only won 4, whereas the 4 Lucky Exchange is. Only had the 15 runs and won 5, so I'm probably leaning a little bit that way, but I'll certainly be interested to see how they look come yard time.
Yeah, from a map perspective, what you're saying about number 1 Smites is sort of half interests me. I thought there was an easy bet here, which neither of you have suggested, and I know it was slightly complimented last start, and that's number 8, Who Dat. My thing is, it's just absolute perfect start of the prep. I got the stable flying. Obviously, third up 1,800 metres looks perfect. Have a look at its 2 third-up runs previously. There was a second to She's an Eagle at Doomben over 1660, and there was a 5 lengths win at Newcastle. If it can replicate one of those 2 third-up runs, and with this stable, I don't think there's any reason to say it doesn't have a lot of upside off its previous run. It'll be competitive, and I'm getting $8 to find out. And this is a very weak race, so you don't need to be much of a horse to win. But I thought the easiest bet for me was number 8 there, because it's kitchen sink, absolute peak time of the preparation. Let's move on to race 4 over 2,200 meters, and well, I mean, I can have a nap and let you guys talk. So Trent, I'll go to you first.
Got number 6, Top Boy on top. I've got it $3. Market's around the $6 mark. been running quite well here. It's won Toowoomba 2 back, but last start at Doomben over the benchmark 70, slowly away, eased near the 1200 and laid in near the 400. Now I think some of that race actually looks half decent, and despite its SP of 25-1, I think it's going pretty well. So I've given it a little bit of improvement off that run. If it does improve, and it's got Bailey Wheeler now, if it does improve off that, it doesn't have to improve much. It's right in this race. So my best play in the race, number 6, Top Boy. Looking at the dangers, I've got the 4 and the 5, so 4 Cash Me and 5 Kudu Tenaire, both $5.20. Got the 2, $7.50, but I'm a little bit sus on that Shernak form, so I'm pretty happy to take that on. But yeah, more than happy with one bet play, number 6, Top Boy.
And Nick?
These are my $33 races, Gordo, as you call them. I put a pen through them. Look, I did send numbers out last time, and Shernak was a really good Waller parader and won for us, which was a good result.
Right, yeah.
If I do anything, I'm really surprised at the price on the 5 Kudos now. I'm probably going to try and oppose it. It has got blinkers, and I almost feel like they're last chance saloon with it, just to try and switch it on, because I don't think it's going that well. It's won 4 from 30. I mean, I'm happy to be against those sort of horses around the $4 mark. There's been a bit of money for it, but it'll parade well. It always looks good. But yeah, not a race I'll be doing a lot on, but if anything, might be trying to, get better around against a couple. Sorry.
Well, that sounds like Mark Lamborn's going to be waiting with bated breath for your yard there, mate, because the way you're talking there is a couple of things he looks for when he's betting into your mounting yard mail, Nick. So a bit more pressure there, mate, a bit more weight.
I'm starting to work out what it is. So.
Yeah, no interest for me, $33. Yeah, race 5 over 1,000 meters, and oh yeah, Nick, because I really want to hear what you say about a couple of in this race. What did you find?
Well, you probably want to know what I say about the toppy good, Miss
Yes.
Cooter, because I just went back and checked what I did, and I thought she was fit enough for the 1,000 where she fell in, really. I think she was probably lucky to win the one that we were on, which I think is Tiger's Secret or something, that won last week. Clearly should have won the race with a better run, I thought. But Miss Cooter looked, I would have given her, I reckon she was probably about 80% fit. Coat wasn't really there. I think she's super hard to beat here. The only problem...
So Nick, can you just give us a little bit more explanation there? What are you looking for on Saturday? Because you said 80% fit, but you're saying had condition, so a lot of improvement, or hasn't come up well this preparation, or what's the go?
Yeah, she's got condition on, so it's not like she's going to be a 1 or 2 run and then kick her out. But her coat wasn't right and that sort of thing. Chris has been away for 3 weeks. He's been back for a week and a bit now. So that'll be interesting to see. But I think from all reports, she's going pretty well. I mean, her form, I think it's superior to these. Trip suits, track suits. She's genuine. She gives her best. The only trouble is a little bit of an interest with the map. There's a few that are going to go forward here and go quick. So where does she get pestered? But geez, you take the 3 off for Wheeler, she's in at 57. When you look at what she's done, it's pretty well in.
Yeah. But Nick, the map's really interesting, isn't it? Because either behind lead or 2 back on the fence. Now, obviously, we'd far prefer behind lead than 2 back on the French. So to be honest, I'd prefer if they whipped it out of the gates and led on the thing. But that's not going to happen.
I think that's entirely possible.
It is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, knowing them. I'd be very surprised if she's 3 back good. I think they'll look. Chris comes from the Smith Waterhouse background. Don't die wondering. He's not. He'd much prefer a jockey to be positive than just a little bit passive. So, yeah, look, there's a bit of responsibility on the kid here. He's got to make some decisions early on, what he does. But I'd like to see her, particularly if she's improved in the yard and she looks pretty wound up, I'd like to see her push forward. And if she could lead, I'd be more than comfortable with that.
Beautiful. And staying at the 1,000, no problem there?
Oh, no, I don't think so. No, look, she's... Look, I think she was... I sort of half think it was a shit race last time because they all had the chance to beat her and didn't. Look, I thought at the 150 she was gone, and then she's she's pretty brave filly. She stuck to her guns and got the win. So no, staying at the thousands, no problem. She's pretty quick. But yeah, the first 200 is going to be interesting. And this barrier started Eagle Farm is a bloody nightmare. The 1,000 meters, they're straight on a corner. So I'm always reticent to back anything drawn too wide. And where she is, they'll try and come across, but I think she's fast enough to hold most of them out.
Beauty. Trent?
I've got number 2, Oceans of Energy, on top here. It's one first up, Grafton, then went to Doomben, 2-year-old race, started 15-8 and won that after beginning awkwardly. Failed at the end of last prep. So it's coming back here fresh. Had the one trial of Ballina, done first up. So it's ratings wise, it's right in this race. I'm not sure 1,000, staying at 1,000 for the toppy is fantastic. I prefer a little bit fresh is best at 1,000. I think this horse can do something fresh. SP says it's half a decent horse. So more than happy to take on the one backing the 2. So I've got the 2 $4. I think it's pretty well placed, $5.50 at the moment, and have backed it.
Well, I thought number 1 was a moral, but I was just looking for a little bit of extra information. And Nick, you've given it to me, mate. I love that. I love 80% fit with condition, particularly when you take into consider watching that race last start and how it won. I think the maybe the not dominant margin is excusable due to the reasons that you mentioned from the yard. So an extra little push on Saturday would be lovely. But to be honest, you've already done it for me, mate. I don't even need the yard comment now. Like seriously, like I'm thinking like this is just a bet. Bloody hell. Sooty wants to take me on with a horse that, won its maiden at Grafton, for Christ's sake.
I will certainly be opposing the 2. I'm not a fan. I'll be very interested to see how it parades, because it was a leggy, not leggy, but hopefully it's matured. If it's matured during its spell, maybe it has improved, but I don't think it's in the same grade as the toppy based on its last campaign. So be very interested to see how it parades, but I'm happy to be on the 1 against the 2.
We're looking at number 1 here, Nick. It's spanking Saturday Metropolitan races by 7 and 5 lengths, then running in like A grade stuff for Brisbane, and then returns off of victory only 80% fit. Jesus, if I knew it was going to lead, bloody hell, I'd be pricing this thing short. I'm not as confident as you on that fact, but you get the kid on taking 3 off. You're not going to tell him to tag, are you?
I don't think so. Yeah. No, I can't see that happening. I think if it jumps, they'll push forward. If something's quick enough to cross it, it'll cross it. But I'll be very surprised if it's 2 pairs back. I can't see that.
And everybody, it's fantastic out there. We've got Nick doing the yard for us, so make sure you jump on board and get his stuff, because obviously there's 2 horses where that I've talked about so far where I'm really fascinated to see what the yard comment is. And I'm still going to back them, but I might end up truckloading. And everybody out there, make sure you get a Combet account, because Sooty's going to be top odds Miss Cooter, and it's going to be like taking candy from a baby. So thanks for being the Salvation Army of the betting community, Trent. Where do we go?
Especially, you go to combet.com.au, but especially with Minto's Dioro at 29, they're getting beaten 2.2 from Miss Cooter. You can. We will be best odds. Get to Combet. We will be best odds of the market.
Beautiful. What great information. Race 6 over 1,000 meters yet again. And Nick, what have you found here?
No, I don't like the race. Found it really tricky. They're going to go. Yeah, they're just absolutely going to go here. All the speed horses, it's 1,000 meters, but the real speed horses, the leaders are drawn wide, so they're going to have to go. Yeah, like the clappers here. I just don't know where they're going to get. I can't understand the price hold on Honey. I just don't know where she gets to. I just can't see it. La Melody came up here, travelled up, I'm led to believe, the day before, and arrived the day before and paraded like it had arrived the day before. It was on its toes and doing a few negative things. Half missed the kick and never really got into the race. It's drawn 15. I don't know where it's going to end up. I just don't like the race. I couldn't find anything. I'm almost looking for. I'm going to try and look as it develops, and the race pattern on the day will have some influence. But something that's drawn well that can just sit behind them and maybe have a crack. The one I won't I might have a spec on because I think it's got a bit of ability, the horse, and it's going around at a decent odds. Is number 17, the QS. I certainly won't lose if it wins. If I do have any bet in the race at this stage, it's probably a small spec bet on it, but I don't like the race. It's been a bit of mail around for the 11 this year. Probably, I think a lot of that's based on it's probably the one that's going to get the good run. But
yeah, I mean, its map looks better, but I'm not seeing the form there.
no, I can't entertain at that price. I just couldn't find anything good. And, you know, once you go through them all a couple of times, you know, you don't have to bet. So I just sort of thought, no, move on. Not for me.
Beauty. Trent?
Got number 11, Nashira, on top. I've got it $4.30, about where the market is at the moment. I had the 4 Hold On Honey second favourite at $5.40. So again, no value there. The 2 value runners in the race I had were number 10, Never Say Nay. So it's 4th up, Aiden Thompson from 1. So I'm petrified of Aiden Thompson, but he's got barrier 1 to offset that ability.
Yeah.
So I don't think he can do too much wrong from there. It's coming from the Caloundra Class 4. And then the gaps, when you're coming from those, when you're coming into a no metro win race, they can be a little bit pick up sticks. So I'm not so opposed to those races coming in here. I think its last start got held up in the straight and gan awkwardly, so it doesn't have to improve much off that to be right in this race. Barrier 1 should get the gun run. More than happy at $14 to back it. I've got it around the $6.50 mark at the moment. And the other one was number 1, Super Rare or Super R, however you want to say that. So this one's 20th up, coming back from the opens, back into the no metro win race. Its ratings have been really good. 1-2 starts back at Caloundra over the 1,000. I don't think it has to be a world beater to win this. And if it rates round about where it is at the moment with Bailey Wheeler, I think it's a chance. I've got around the 10-1 mark, and it's currently 23. So 2 bet play there, number 10 and number 1.
It's an interesting roughie, that number 1, Trent, because you've got the King Claws line at Rockhampton, don't you? Which isn't looking too bad. Like, people will see Rockhampton and maybe not give it as much credit as you could give it off that run. And Bailey taking the 3 off looks quite nice as well. Saying all that, I'm 5 from 4, but I don't think I'll be betting in the race because I think they're the best. I think 5's the best horse. I think 4's the second best horse. But as Nick mentioned, I just don't know where they're going to map. And Nick's also mentioned about that 1,000-metre starts. I mean, where do we get from barrier 15 and barrier 9? And obviously, we won't be that wide on the day with some horses coming out, but we're still going to be way out there. So I wasn't sure about map. But if we've established a certain pattern, they're the 2 that I will entertain backing if I can see something positive in pattern coming into race 6. Let's move on to race 7 over 1,200 metres, and what a cracking race this is. Nick, what did you find?
It is, isn't it? Plenty of speed here. Obviously, Zerastro will go forward. All that. The interesting thing for me is Gollan's got 3 in the race. First up, before I go any further, you guys, Sydney guys, Hell I Am, any good?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
No, but it's like a mythical horse. Like, it was going to cure cancer. And obviously, it's not lived up to its to the hype that was about it. But
yeah,
there's an interesting little pattern there with the horse. But it has ability, Nick. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look. There's plenty of pressure here. All that pizzazz will go quick. Zerastro will go quick. Thought Hell I Am is just going to get the nice run just behind them. Zerastro is one that we've liked. I think he's a good animal. It's hard for me to oppose him because I think he's flying. And obviously, last start, he shows he handles Eagle Farm. No worries. He did a good job to win there. Our old mate Kanazawa's in the race, back over 1,200. Now it's going to...
Yes. Yeah.
I'm almost certain at one stage it's going to look like the winner at the 2 or the 300, and because it's just going to get a lovely run off them. I don't think it just didn't run the 1,400. It just fell in a hole at the end. But whether that's the trip or the horse, I just don't know. I just can't back it. But yeah, I'll be pretty pissed off if it beats me too. So, but I'm probably at this stage, it's a 2-bet play between Zerastro and Hell I Am, and one at a reasonable price that's not out of it is Safe Work, who's a good 1,200-metre horse at Eagle Farm. So I could certainly see him running into the placings at all, but probably Zerastro from Hell I Am at the moment. But I'm a bit concerned with Zerastro that he might just get posted on a good tempo and have to work a bit, which might leave him a bit vulnerable late. But they're the two that for me.
Trent?
Got the 10 Zerastro on top at $2.70, so no value there. The horse I'm interested in is number 6, Hell I Am. So I've got it $5.30 at the moment. The difficulty I'm having is rating some of those Wyong and Gosford runs. If that was at Rosehill and Randwick, those runs, and it rated what it did, I'd just be all over this. I'd be really, really excited. The problem is it's a away form. They've already got to go on the float. They're already up there. I just don't know where to put it. I've put it well below where I could, and I've still got it $5.30 below where the market is at the moment. I'm very concerned about where O'Shea is and where some of his horses are at the moment. But there's only one bet I could have in this race, and that's number 6, Hell I Am. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. I'll probably wait on the day and see what happens with the horse, but only interested in one horse, number 6.
I'm absolutely loving this race because there's only 1.5 chances. Well, let's call it 2 chances. I think the map looks good for Zerastro. Nick, I really do like that the stablemate is the one that's going to punch up from the inside. So I thought it'd cross and they could completely control if this thing sat OSL, or if all that Pizzazz wants to hand up, then Zastro will cross and lead. So I think the map is looking all right for Zerastro. I think he's just got it absolutely flying. And, you know, you've couple of great runs this preparation, and then you notice like absolutely no weight on its back. I know there's a jockey change going on there, but what did it carry last start? 59, 60, something like that. So a map positive horse that's flying with a stable that's flying down 5.5 kilos on its dominant victory last start. It just looks right to me. I'll definitely be winning on it. And the other horse, which I think is a great chance, is number 6, Hell I Am. Bloody hell. 2 new guests next week.
What's going on? What is going on? It's going to be feast or famine this week.
It's a thing that I use all the time, and that is horses that show that they've got a lot of ability and slightly let me down. I back them early preparation. I think that that's the secret to them. And then let's have a look at Hell I Am's first up runs. It's had 3 runs first up, and we've absolutely owned. That's one of the Wyong wins there, Trent, which maybe you're not marking as strongly as you can, but Shalal came second there. This horse absolutely owned it, and that horse was going quite well at the time. It was a dominant win at Canterbury on the heavy track first up previously, and I give a tick for horses that win on wet tracks first up. I think the horse is a dead set freshie. I really like the last trial, and it's just going to be a stalker that could get last shot. Saying that, I've still got Zerastro on top, but Hell I Am is my second selection there, and I'll be covering them both, but I'll be having more on Zerastro. Let's move on to race 8 over 1,400 meters, and well, this has got you written all over it, Trent. And I won't be betting unless you two great minds can think alike and find something for me.
Yeah. Jeez, when I've got Williamsburg on top, and when you got Williamsburg on top, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, I was the same. So yeah,
I was like, so you got 7 Williamsburg, who the only thing is it's Ryan first up, but it could be a Weddy, and it's runs first up last time.
It was disappointing.
20-1 behind half cabin. So it's like, well, I can't back that. The price flopped out at 350. Kind of where the market is at the moment. Could I back it? No way in the world. Looking for dangers around it. I've got Fender then next, and Cepheus around 2.5 kilos back around the $7 mark. They're hateful horses. Looking for a bet. I ended up flopping on number 9, Animate. So I've got around the 1060 mark. It's $23 at the moment. Only because I just hated that one, hated next one, hated the one after it. And I looked at this horse's form. Back last prep, got up to about 49 kilos, winning that open with Jim Byrne on top. It was 20-1 that day, so you can't be too over the top with it. But it was wide throughout. It's resumed with the Caloundra run in the open. Didn't go too bad there behind Snow Zone. Had excuses last time, and it was slowly away and held up. So it could be a little bit under the radar there. So there was a horse that the market has missed. It's it. But hateful race, one bet, number 9, Adamant.
Yeah, Nick, what are you doing? I suppose yard is going to be important here, but at the moment, what have you got?
Look, I sort of came to the same conclusion largely as Trent. I thought Williamsburg came on top for me. And I thought, oh, that's a bit icky. Then I sort of, it is Ryan first up, which is where he's decent. Now this horse went through the sales. They sold a share of this online at the English sales, and I think I got a feeling 10% or 5% went for a significant amount of money. So they're obviously still got breeding at plans with this horse. Yeah. So they're not going to just send it round to run around. I wonder if it's a bit of a target first up. Be interested to see how it looks. Obviously a really well-bred horse. But is it actually going any good? I mean, is it just a wet tracker now? I don't know. I'm a bit confused by the race, I've got to be honest. I think Cepheus is going pretty well. I didn't mind his trial that he had after his last win. I thought it was a good, solid hit out. I'm not overly concerned with him about the 60 kilos. He's a big, robust sort of thing. So I think he'll carry that no problem at all. But it's a tricky race. I mean, looks like Elvis is one I'd be interested in if he'd shown any semblance of form, but maybe he's gone. Maybe he's just lost interest. And apart from that, it's a funny old race. Not one I'm going to do too much on, but I'll be certainly interested to see how Williamsburg parades.
Well, I definitely think Williamsburg is a wetty.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is, its form on good is still good enough to win this race. You know what I mean? Because it is. Like, I mean, have a look at what I know. Like, it's never won first up, 3 starts for 1 second. But we're talking about, you're against Kaboo, Golden My Basque in a Group 3. You're against, Afcab and Zoo Tiger Communist. I know you got owned, but that's a different sport than the horses it's running against here. My only problem was I wasn't a big fan of that last trial. Now I'll give it a half a pass mark the last trial because it trialled well in its first trial, which means they can generally be pretty cute and soft on them in their second trial. But it looked a little bit weak to me. But it was a strong trial because we've got Masked Crusader Mautai on the lead, so at least it was running against good horses. I could end up backing this horse. And it's the only horse I could entertain backing, but I've got a similar feel to both Trent and you that I wasn't comfortable about it, but it's the only horse I could back.
Yeah.
Let's move on to race 9 over 1,400 meters. And geez, you'll know all these horses well, Nick. Could you sort out this chaff? Yeah,
well, if I can get a half decent parade from number 6 here, I'm going to be all over it.
Okay.
Now Magnus. It's a pretty average type. There's not a whole lot to it, but it's gone from Gearin to Warman, which is a massive upgrade. I think it probably got beat by the wind and the track bias last time at Doom. It was really well backed, and off the parade you couldn't support it. It was just like, no, there's not much substance to this horse. So I'd be very interested to see how it parades, because its form's fantastic. It's a super consistent horse, and its ability is clearly superior to how it looks. You know what I mean? If it looks half decent, I'll be quite keen here. Enterprise Me is a horse that I've backed a few times, and it just pulls and carries on and does the wrong thing. I noticed they've taken the blinkers off it, which is interesting. But yeah, if I can get a half decent parade here from our Magnus, I'm really keen to play.
Yeah, it's that jockey booking, isn't it? It's just so interesting.
Yeah, it is, for sure. Yeah.
Trent, what do you got?
Got number 6, Al Magnus, and number 13, Shah of Goma, equally top rated, $3.90. Back Shah of Goma first up, last start. Yeah, second up, where it began awkwardly and overraced the middle stages. So I think if it improves off that, where it started quite short and was well backed, if it improves off that and doesn't begin awkwardly again, I think it is the bet. The concern here is barrier 10, but if it does slot in, which I think it will, I think it's a great bet. So it's currently around the $6.57 mark. I've got it $3.90, so more than happy to back it. Petrified of the 6. I think it gets the gun run for all the reasons you guys, Gearin to Orman, barrier 2. It's got to be massive, massive danger. So if that got out, that got to the 430, 440 mark, I'd definitely back it. But at the moment, just one bet, number 13, Shah of Goma.
Yeah, well, I've got our Magnus on top, but I'm not 100% comfortable about how much ability it's got. But it just looks kitchen sink, grand final day. Everything says that. The inside draw, the jockey booking, the first up run to Zarastro, I'm quite liking there, although it was kind of complemented the way that pattern was with the pace being on. So it's slightly complemented with that margin. Like if you could just say that margin as true, then I'd be very comfortable about taking this kind of price. But I'm not sure whether I can correctly assess that. Shah of Gomar, I've just decided never again. I thought its race was last start, but Trent's so right. It did have excuses, and the line is through our Magnus there. They ran against each other. That looks like the right line to me. This is a low confidence race. It was weird. One that I would have backed at like gigantic odds if I knew it was going to lead is number 8, Winston Smurfield. It'll end up being gigantic odds. It'll be about 50 to 1 or something like that, because I think it can only lead to run well. But I like horses that are winners, and since this trainer's had the horse, it's won 4 of its how many 5 or 6 starts or whatever.
At the moment, yeah.
And the only thing was that, and it's all weak stuff, but I thought there was some lines there through Fastconi that did line up with higher standard stuff, and it beat it last start, but probably won't lead. But anyway, I'll get gigantic odds about it. I think you guys might have found the right form lines there, but it's a difficult race. Yeah.
Just on that, I'm just gone through my sheets here, and I had a bit of a nightmare with the printer, and I have got Shah of Goma as a bet as well, so it'll probably be a 2-bet play for me, because I think they both come out the same race. I think possibly an argument that Shah of Goma was a slightly better run. But it's obviously going to be giving the other one a bit of a start here as well. So
it's actually a strange one, isn't it, Nick? Because Shah of Goma's was a slightly better run, but then we've got the jockey change on our Magnus and the easy map from 2. Look,
Shah of Goma's going to need that little bit of luck, and he's going to be back in the field. But I'm happy to play this on a 2-bet play between what is it, the 6 and the 13.
Yep. Okay, Trent, give us these Monties, mate.
Race 2, number 8, Cur Royale. Very keen there. And I think that's the only Monty. Yeah, happy just to leave it with that one. Race 2, number 8.
Nothing wrong with that. It's $2.30 available. You can make over 100% ROI off one bet.
Correct.
Don't mind that. Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, look, I'm with Trent there. Cur Royale. I mean, it just seems perfect, doesn't it? So yeah, keen it. I'm keen Miss Kudu if I get a good boost from the yard. Try and do a little bit more research on where it's actually going to map on the day. A few questions on the day, and I'm pretty keen to play in the last. I know it's not a race you particularly like, Gord, but I'm keen on a 2-bet play here. Our Magnus and Shah of Goma. So yeah, it's a card where there's 3 races where I'm keen to significantly play.
Yeah, I think there's some great bets on the card. I think, the obvious one is Cur Royale, of course, Miss Cuda as well. I'm with you there, Nick. I thought I'm quite happy to play in that race 7 with Zarastro and Hell I Am. I know that's a fair percentage, but the way we structure our bets will mean that we can make a nice profit in there, because I'm kind of against those others in that race, so I'm happy to play that. And you know what, just for shits and giggles, because you guys have got the icky feeling, let's wait for a positive yard push on race 8, number 7, Williamsburg, and see if Nick can get this one over the line for me and say it's ready first up.
Now he's going to parade well, isn't he? Because he's Ryan first up. He's a well-bred schnitzel. He's going to look the best horse there on the day. So it looks like Tarzan. He's got a bit of Jane about him. Or,
yeah. Well, not on a wet track, so he's got some ticker. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's not going to get that.
No. Anyway, it looks a great betting card, and thanks, guys. That was awesome. I think there's plenty of winners out there for our ranters, and everybody get to combet.com.au and take the money that Trent gives away, Trent and Drake give away every Saturday. And in order to more efficiently take their money, make sure you sign up for Nick Meredith's Mounting Yard Mail. Obviously, you guys have watched a few shows by now. There should be something to click on there to sign up and all that kind of stuff, because there's some fresh horses and some horses that Nick has a real good feel for. And if we get a bit of an extra push, we can unload. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, anyone feel free to ask me if you want me to look at any special horse for you too. No drama at all.
Awesome stuff. And good luck. Good punting. See you guys.
Thanks, mate.